Hello everyone, I Assistant Professor Pragati Shetty from Department of Microbiology, KJ Somaya College. In this online lecture, we will study about the Candidiasis, the Candida albicans infections. So in the last online lecture, we have started with this unit and with this topic. So in that, we have studied the family classification of the Candida. We have saw certain different types of the albicans and the non-albicans species. Then we did studied the morphology. After morphology, we have studied the epidemiology. In epidemiology, we studied that 75% of the women will get this infection, which is most prevalent in the woman than in the men. And in that 75% women also, the 25% of the women are for getting the or has the possibility for getting the vaginal infection of the Candida albicans. We called it as the vulvovaginal infection. Then as we mentioned in the earlier lecture that the Candida albicans is our normal flora, right? It is the commensal organism. So what is a commensal organism? If the conditions got changed due to some reasons, outer conditions or the external conditions, then this normal flora of the or the normal organism present in the flora of a human body, then that will turn into the pathogenic organism, okay, and that will cause the infection. So most of the Candida infections are due to like this transmission way only. Now what are the reasons for changing these conditions in our body for imbalancement? So first of all, in the vaginal infection, as we know, the vaginal pH of the woman is always acidic pH. Why it is acidic? Because there are the lactobacillus bacteria are present, which are a very beneficial bacteria for our body, because they are produces the acids and they will protect our vagina by getting any kind of the harmful infections, right? Because most of the pathogenic organisms are susceptible to the acidic conditions. They cannot resist very much acidic conditions, and therefore the vagina of a woman is protected due to this lactobacillus. So if any changes has got changed, and due to which the lactobacillus species has been reduced down, and therefore the acid production will be reduced, and therefore the vagina will be more prone or will be more susceptible to getting this type of infection, including the Candida albicans infection, okay. Then this is about the imbalancement. Now if the other conditions such as the immunocompromised conditions, so that may be present in the HIV patient or in the diabetic or metabolic disorder having patient persons, then the persons who are people who are on the antibiotic doses, so that antibiotic can also be responsible for killing that lactobacillus species, okay. Then overweight of a person. So these are the conditions by which the immunity of a person will get reduced down. The person will be immunocompromised. Therefore, that can be very much good reason for Candida albicans to cause the infection. Okay, these are the advantages for the Candida, that for causing the infections at the sites. Okay. Then most of the infections can also be from nosocomial transfer. What is a nosocomial infection? The hospital-borne infections via the contaminated needles, contaminated apparatus, contaminated syringe. Okay, by that way the infection can be spread. We called it as the nosocomial infection. In the hospitals, the blood infection majorly is present, okay, via the blood. The Candida albicans can cause the blood invasive infections, okay. Then after that we saw the groups who are at the higher risk for this infection. So first, the babies who may have the rashes on their bottom part, Okay, so that will also give candida to chance to cause the infection. Then the immunocompromised persons, people with the metabolic disorders, right, just now we discussed, like diabetes or the any hypertension, right. Then overweight people, pregnant women, and women who take the high doses of the contraceptive pills, that will also reduce the pH of their vagina due to the antibiotic treatment. Okay, therefore the woman will be susceptible to get that candida infection. Then people who work with the wet conditions, right, see this infection is on the, or the candida albicans will infect 90% on the wet surfaces or on the moist areas. Okay, and therefore you can observe, if you observe, then the vagina, the mouth, the oral cavity, these are all the mucosal surfaces, these are all the wet surfaces, and therefore it is easy for candida to adhere to such surfaces and cause the infection. Okay, therefore that will cause the infection in the wet surface and the mucosal surfaces. Then people who are immunocompromised, okay, such as the people who are having the HIV or any other disorder, then that will be the immunocompromised state. So that is also gives a chance for candida to cause the infection. This is about the candida albicans epidemiology. Okay, candida albicans epidemiology. After that we studied what are the types of the candidiasis, which means depending upon the site of the infection and the body, there are different types of the infection. So first, if the infection is present in the mouth or in the throat, then it is called as the candidiasis, oral candidiasis, or the oropharyngeal candidiasis, or it can be also called as the thrush. Then if the infection is in the genital area, we know it is called as the vulvovaginal infection. Okay, then if the yeast or the candidas infect the skin of a baby's bottom area, then it is called as the diaper rash. Okay, diaper rash. Then the infection, if enters inside the person's body into the bloodstream, it is called as the invasive candidiasis or the candidemia, which is a very very dangerous and the harmful type of the candidiasis infection. Okay, these are the types of the candidiasis infections. Then we studied the pathogenesis and the transmission, right? Now in the pathogenesis, candidiasis is caused by the majorly due to its commensal property, which means due to the changes in the condition it will turn pathogenic. Then second, usually most of the time this imbalance occurs in the vagina, right? Now we know the reasons, right? That is the acidic conditions due to the lactobacillus reducement. Okay, the vaginal imbalance. Then we saw the conditions such as the acidic product, such as the immunocompromised person and the lactobacillus reduction. Okay, this is the pathogenesis. Okay, after the pathogenesis, if we look into the transmission of the candidiasis, then candida albicans is most of the time transmitted via the mother to infant. Now why through this route? Because as we know that candida is present as our normal human flora, so that will basically most commonly will transfer via the mother to fetus, right? Then second, the overgrowth of the candida albicans lead to the symptoms of disease, which is most commonly due to the imbalances in the pH, such as in the vaginal pH imbalancement. Okay, and the sexually, the Candida albicans possibility for spreading in by via the sexual intercourse is very less. Okay, and the typical reservoir for the Candida is only a human. It will transmit via the human sources and not because of any of the vectors or anything. Okay, it will only transfer via the human contacts or the human sources, human products, right? Then now we will see how the Candida is doing the infection, causing the infection in the host body. Now the Candida albicans will get entered into the mucosal surfaces such as the vagina or the mouth. Now after getting, it will now multiply, it will divide asexually, right? Then following the morphogenesis, and due to the morphogenesis, it will produce the polymorphic forms. Now in that polymorphic, it will also produce the filaments, and that filaments will help to cause the infection, okay, and to invade the host cell. That means to engulf the host cell and to kill the host cell, to damage the host cell. Now this killing or this damaging the host cell will be due to the production or the excretion of the enzymes from the Candida. Okay, Candida will produce certain types of the enzymes such as the proteases or the proteinases, which will kill the host proteins or the host enzyme. Therefore the host cell will be get damaged. Okay, then the another property which will help the Candida to infect or to adhere, this will include the phenotypic switching. What is the phenotypic switching? Basically, phenotype means what? The physical properties. So if there are changes in the outer skin, for example in the baby's rashes, we just saw, right, in the baby's rash at the bottom area, so what will happen? The skin at that part will be more susceptible, okay, and which will help this Candida to adhere very much stronger. Okay, also the antigenic expression will be more at that site, and the adherence or the affinity to bind to that part or the tissues will be more, right? So therefore the phenotype switching will help the Candida to adhere to such surfaces. Okay, then switching will also help the Candida if the Candida infection is coming from outside. Okay, then the switching, the phenotype switching will help that Candida species to become a part of the host microflora, we called as the hostile conditions. Okay, this is about the Candida albicans pathogenicity and the transmission, that how the Candida is getting inside our host cells and how it will cause the infections, right? Now we study the disease symptoms. Okay, what are the symptoms, what are the clinical significance or the features? First, a Candida infection of the skin appears as a distinct red color patches, that is very very distinct. Okay, the red color patches, itchy skin, itchiness, and often leaking fluid. So these are the most distinct properties, characteristic features of the Candida infections, right? The red patch, then itchy skin, leaky fluids, okay? Then scabs and the pustules can also be seen around the edges of the rashes. Okay, usually it is present in the areas, okay, such as the groin or folds of the buttocks, between the breast, then between the toes, okay, we called as the athlete's foots, okay, or the between fingers where there will be the moisture, okay, moisture is present. We know that between our feet or between the fingers there will be a moisture content in some amount, so that can be a site of infection, right? A very much possible site for infection of the Candida albicans. Okay, so these are the sites that will help the Candida to grow. Then a vaginal yeast infection may well result in a slow leakage of a thick white cheese-like substance, and the vagina may itch or may burn, especially during the urination or the sexual intercourse. Then pain or discomfort during the intercourse is most common due to this infection. Okay, so most commonly, if the vulvovaginal infection is present in the woman, then there will be the production of the thick white color substance, cheese-like substance, and the vagina will be itchy and it will sound burny. Okay, pain during urination or the sexual intercourse. Then the candidal paronychia is a type of candidiasis of the fingernails, which means in the nails, inside the nails, it will start infecting and it will goes then into the other parts of the fingers. Then it often strikes people whose hands are in the water. Okay, so as we know, the Candida albicans most commonly cause the infections at the wet surfaces, mucosal surfaces. So it is very much common that people whose hands or who are in very much contact with the longer contact with the water or any moisture, then they will get higher chances for getting this infection, right? Sometimes it presents as a painful red swollen area around the fingernail. In worst cases, the fingernail may separate, that is, a nail of our finger will completely come out, will separate, revealing a discolored white or yellow nail bed. Okay, so this Candida infection is very much painful. As I discussed in the earlier lecture, it is the most infectious and it is the most painful infection of the fungus category. In the worst cases, as we saw, the finger, that is the nail of our fingernail will be completely separate from the finger, and that portion of the nail that will be have the discolored white or the yellow nail bed. Okay, then oral thrush, that is the oral candidiasis, causes curd like white patches inside the mouth that will be very painful on the tongue and on the palate and around the lips. Then it can also cause the cracked red moist areas of the skin at the corners of the mouth. Thrush patches may or may not be painful. Okay, then in the oral thrush, they will causes the curd like white patches inside the mouth, in the mucosal surfaces such as the mouth, tongue, right, at the palate, around the lips. And it can also cause the cracked red moist areas of the skin at the corners of the mouth. Then thrush patches, this white color patches, can be very painful or may not be that much painful, depends. Okay, these are the symptoms of the candidiasis infection, okay, which is caused due to the Candida albicans. These are the very much distinct and characteristic clinical significance or clinical features which we can recognize very well. After the disease symptoms, after the clinical signatures features, we will see the laboratory diagnosis. Okay, so in this picture you can see the white color patches that are present inside the mouth cavity. This is the mouth cavity. Okay, so you can see the mucosal surfaces such as the tongue, palate. Okay, so there are the curd like color white color patches that are present due to the candidiasis infection, candida albicans infection. Okay, now in the laboratory diagnosis, what is our first step? Our first step is to collect the specimen, right? For any test, for any disease laboratory diagnosis, any infection laboratory diagnosis, we have to collect sample, then only we can proceed, right? So first, for collection of the samples such as the whitish patches from the mucous membranes can be collected, or the sputum can also be collected. If the infection is inside the throat, then the mucus can also collect. Okay, the mucus can also be present on the fingers, okay, on the skin. Then how we collect these samples? We collect via the swabs with the help of the sterile cotton swabs. Then after that, we will do the direct examination, that we will do the microscopy. Okay, now in the microscopy called as the direct examination, a spear from the swab, okay, is fixed on the microscope slides, and then it will stained either by the gram staining, that is our normal gram staining method using the crystal violet, okay, then gram iodine alcohol, and that will include also the basic fuchsin. So that is the normal method of the gram staining. We can use that also for staining, or by periodic acid Schiff technique called as the PAS technique. Okay, so using these methods, the candidal hyphae and the yeast appear either dark blue color, which is from the gram staining, or the red or the purple color called as the PAS staining. Okay, now you can see in this picture there is the dark blue color yeast with the help of the gram staining, and the red or the purple color is due to the PAS technique. Okay, now after the microscopical examination, we will study the what are the tests that we can use, such as the biochemical test, okay, then the culturing, some test tube chemical test. So that will include the germ tube test. This is the very famous test. It is used to determine many various kind of the pathogens. Okay, it uses the Reynolds Broad phenomena, and in this test a culture of the candida, that is the sample of the candida, is treated with the normal human serum or the ship human serum and it is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 2 to 4 hours in the incubator, and after that the no constriction seen at the point of the attachment to the yeast cell. Okay, and the test results will be appear in the 2 hours or the 4 hours for the candida albicans. Most probably it will appear into the 2 hours. Okay, in this test we observe for any constrictions or not at the point of the attachment to the yeast cell, to the serum. If there is no attachment, then there will be the positive test. Okay, so you can say in the no constriction is has been seen at the point of attachment. Okay, then we can say the candida albicans is present, and the results will be present or will be occurred within the time duration of 2 hours at 37 degrees Celsius incubation. Then second test we can do, that is the chlamydospore formation. Now we know during the yeast multiplication or the dividation, it will produce the chlamydospores, right? So that spores we can stain. The suspected strain of the candida isolates grown on the CMA agar or the rice starch agar and incubated at 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, then formation of a large highly refractory thick walled terminal chlamydospores will be observed in the 2 to 3 days of the infection. This chlamydophore formation is a very good property of the candida albicans, so therefore we are using this test. Okay, then biochemical tests are also present that we can do. The biochemical test will include the sugar assimilation and the fermentation test, right? That we will see that we can predict whether the production of the acid or production of the gas will be predicted via the bubble formation, and acid production can be determined via the changes in the color of the medium, right? If the acid is present, the medium most probably will change into the yellow color. Okay, then candida albicans ferment very well glucose and the maltose with a good acid and gas production. Okay, you can see in this picture the yellow color ones say the glucose and the maltose. So you can see the acid production, that media has got changed into the yellow color, and we can also see a bubble formation inside the Darham's tube, right? That will indicate the gas production from the candida albicans, although it will not ferment sucrose and the lactose. It will ferment glucose and maltose. Then pale pink coloration in the tetrazolium reduction medium. Okay, so if the reduction of the tetrazolium has been done, then the color will be changed into the pale pink. Okay, these are the biochemical tests that we can use for confirmation of the candida albicans species. After that, we will culture our sample. So on which media? Most probably on the Sabrod agar. As we know, we use the Sabrod agar for especially the growing the fungal culture, right? Then we can use the Sabrod agar plus antibiotic, which can kill the bacteria. If any bacterial growth are present, then that will kill the bacteria. That is why we are incorporating antibiotics also in the media. Okay, after that the cornmeal agar can be used. Okay, in this Sabrod agar we have to incubate the plates at 37 degrees Celsius for 3 to 4 days. Okay, as the fungal growth will be take more time than as compared to the bacterial growth, bacterial cultures, right? So that is why we have to incubate it for little more period. Then second media that is also available is cornmeal agar. Okay, and it is characteristic terminal chlamydospores, yeast cells and pseudohyphae agar. That means this type of the organisms are very well grow on this cornmeal agar. Okay, the third agar that we can use is the chrome agar. In that we can observe light green to the bluish green color colonies of the candida albicans, right? This is the laboratory diagnosis. In that laboratory diagnosis, the biochemical test, okay, then the chemical test, the germ tube test, chlamydospore formation. After that we have cultured the sample. Now we got the positive results for the Sabrod agar growth. You can see Here is the Candida species, Candida albicans growth. It will look like this. Okay. After this, so you can see here also in the slant there is a growth for the Sabrodes dextrose agar that is occurred after incubating at 37 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 days. It will give the creamy moist colonies. Microscopically, yeast cell will be observed, pseudohyphae will be observed, and conidia can also be observed. Okay. Then it is depends also on the overgrowth of the Candida yeast. If the overgrowth has been happened in the host, then this type of growth is very well obtained with the help of the Sabrod dextrose agar culturing method, right? Then after the SAB agar, Sabrod agar, we can use some serological testing, right? Then in that we can do the typing of the Candida strains. Now we have to determine we have to confirm Candida albicans strain. Therefore we can use the serotyping, we can use the an isoenzyme profiling, morphotyping, and the resistant pattern typing. Okay. In the immunodiagnosis, we can use the PCR method to determine Candida DNA detection. Right, if the DNA of the Candida has been detected, then it is confirmed that the Candida albicans is only present, right? Then detection of Candida albicans can also be used of the derived molecules. Okay, derived molecules. Then we can also use the ELISA, RIA method, CIE, okay, counter immunoelectrophoresis, that is the CIE, PHA, and the LPA. These are the immunological methods, okay, which will most probably include the antigen antibody reactions to determine the Candida albicans interaction. Okay, these are the immunodiagnosis of the Candida albicans. Now we did the typing and the immunodiagnosis. Now we can detect the metabolites also, such as the D-mannose and the D-arabinotol, which are present in the Candida albicans species structure, that we can detect in the serum by gas liquid chromatography. Okay. Also we can do the G test, called as the glucan test, for detection of glucan. These are the metabolite present in the Candida that we can detect using the gas liquid chromatography and the G test. Now next, skin test. In case of the skin test, it is not very well used or helpful for the diagnosis, although it is used to evaluate the cell mediated immunity, which means if the skin rashes are very harmful or in very higher amount, okay, then depending on that the cell immunity can be observed. Then the animal pathogenicity. Now we can determine that how much of this Candida albicans are required to cause the infection. So that we can determine using the animal pathogenicity, using the animal model. So test can be done on the rabbits or the mice for susceptibility to various Candida species, and with the help of this we can determine the amount of Candida albicans required to cause infection. Okay, that is the pathogenicity. Okay, this is the laboratory diagnosis of the Candida albicans. right? After this we will see what are the treatment that are available. So treatments, first for the infection of the skin. So here are we are now have with us the various types of the antibiotics or the creams, okay, the lotions or the powder forms drugs that we can apply on the infective sites on this infection for this pathogen. So if the infection of the skin is present, then you can get an antifungal cream or the powder, right? As I mentioned, cream or powder or the prescription for the antifungal drugs that are also very well available in the market. Then for vaginal yeast infection, treatment will consist antifungal medication that will be administered directly into the vagina, okay, as the tablets or the creams or the ointments or suppositories or the administered by mouth, okay. For example, the fluconazole, if the vaginal infection is at very higher stage, okay, then the drugs that are available that can be also directly incorporate into the vagina, and also along with that administered by mouth, oral drugs are also available. For example, the fluconazole, right? Then the cutaneous candidiasis, in that, as we mentioned, the powders are available, the creams are available. The affected area should be keep must be kept clean and hygienic, okay. And along with that, most importantly, it should be dry, okay, it should remain dry, it should not contain moisture, so that it will again gives chance to the candida to spread. Therefore we have to assure that that infected site is must be clean, hygienic, dry, okay, and protected from chafing. Then in the deep candidiasis, this infection is mostly treated with the intravenous fluconazole. People with very low WBC counts can need the alternative intravenous antifungal drugs also. That will include the casofungin or the mesofungin. Okay, these are the treatment. The treatment for the Candida albicans, the candidiasis. Okay, now the drugs that we have discussed, the drugs can be the clotrimazole, which is the most common antifungal agent that is available, okay. The clotrimazole, that is it is also present in the powder form, okay. Clotrimazole, then the nystatin, fluconazole, and the topical ketoconazole. Then in case of the localized infections, drugs can be used for the vaginal infections such as the imidazole drug or the triazole drug, okay. In the blood infection, the intravenous fluconazole or the echinocandin drugs can be used, okay. In that category, the casofungin will be present, and along with these, the amphotericin B is another antifungal agent. We have studied the antifungal drugs also in the previous lectures. You can refer there if we want to study the mode of action of these drugs on the fungi cell wall and the synthesis of the proteins, right? This is the treatment of the candidiasis, the Candida albicans, right? These are the drugs which are available for curing this infection. Now along with this, now you can see in this picture, there are the type of the drugs and there is the site of the candida on which they will affect, okay. For example, say in the amphotericin B, it will cell membrane inhibitor, it is a cell membrane inhibitor. Casofungin, it is a cell wall inhibitor, okay. Then if we come into the prevention of this infection, then we can prevent by most major way, or the easiest way we can prevent by keeping our body clean, okay, hygienic, and we should not come in contact with the water or with the moisture for a very very long time. Okay, then by using the antibiotic, okay, prescribed antibiotics, following a healthy lifestyle, okay, healthy habits including the proper nutrition. This is the very important points. These are very important points, and these are very easy to administered in our daily life also, right? These little habits can help us to get to protected from this type of dangerous infections, harmful infections, right? Then people with diabetes should try to keep their blood sugar under the control. Okay, then if you have HIV or another case of the immunocompromised conditions, okay, then the antifungal drugs such as the clotrimazole drugs can help to minimize the flare-ups. Okay, these are the prevention for the Candida albicans infection. In this online lecture, we have studied the epidemiology of the Candida albicans, then the pathogenicity transmission of the Candida albicans. After the pathogenicity and transmission, we studied the disease symptoms, the clinical features, right? What are the symptoms? Symptoms for the candidiasis. Then we studied the laboratory diagnosis, right? After the laboratory diagnosis, we studied the treatment and then the prevention. I hope you understood this online lecture. If you have any doubt regarding this, please ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching.